Okay, a very good morning to all our viewers and listeners. It could be probably an afternoon elsewhere or an evening, but you are most welcome. It's been a month and a half, close to 2 months, since we last met here on this platform, ACFIN Talks. Since then, so much has happened. Uganda has been going through a very important democratic process. On the 14th, we had our elections for presidential and parliamentary, and also in the subsequent weeks, we also had other local council elections that followed thereafter. And we seem to have put that behind us, but what is not yet concluded are the results for the presidential elections. As is now, we are in court. We are in court. When I say we, as in Noop, that had the second runner-up for the presidential bid, that is Robert Sentam Kyagulanyi, decided to go to court to contest the results. Just to give you a quick recap, is that Museveni, who is the incumbent and now also the presidential elect, pending the court decision, polled over 6 million, translating into 58.38%. And Robert Kyagulanyi, who was the second runner-up, the first runner-up, standing on the NUP ticket. NUP is a National Unity Platform, polled over 3.6 million votes, which translates into 35.08%. So he has petitioned the High Court contesting the results, and he has he raises about 15 issues that mainly are on electoral irregularities, and then about 10 issues on electoral offenses. And the High Court and the panel of 9 has been constituted to hear and dispense the court that is being headed by the Chief Justice, Alfonso Owinyi-Doro. So let's see how that goes. But that aside, a lot of other things that were interesting happened in between. There's elections. The election day was by and large very peaceful, with a lot of deployment. But in the run-up to the elections, there were skirmishes here and there of violence. In fact, some observers have likened this election to the 2001 election in terms of violence. Probably this is more amplified in its sense. But that aside, also we saw a number of senior cabinet ministers and NRMB goods lose their MP seats. I think about 24 of them lost. We also saw the Uganda Busoga question in terms of a protest vote. But also there were some wins for NRM, claiming Kasese, which had been predominantly opposition, and also Rukunjiri, and also Gulu. But that's not the reason why we are here today. I'm just trying to lay the foundation that while we were away, so much happened. And also partly is that I think the icing on the cake is that on the eve to the elections, Uganda witnessed a total internet shutdown, and partly explains why we've not been able to be on set every Friday between 11 and midday East African time, as promised. But now that we are back, it looks like we are starting to get back to normal. I promised that in the subsequent broadcasts, I'll touch some of the things we lost out, but from the perspective of campaign financing and political party financing. Today, allow me to introduce to you a guest who is fresh from contesting for an MP position, and not only contesting but also losing that election bid And that now also brings us to the topic we're discussing, the cost of losing an election bid. In most cases, after elections, people are celebrating winners, and very few people look at the losers. But the life of a loser of an election bid is worth looking into to inform our discourse and discussions on what kind of democracy do we want to see and what kind of election campaigns do we want to see. ACFIM, about 3 years ago, published a book. That book touched a very pertinent issue that now I think is very important to discuss in a wider context. In that report, ACFIM looked at the unregulated campaign spending and how it affects the different electoral participants. Today, we want to look at and focus on a candidate, and in particular, a candidate who has lost. What becomes of that candidate who has lost? What is the experience? What are the lessons do we pick from it? When we argue that commercialized electoral politics is not good for our democracy, from a perspective of a loser, what does it mean? And how does that affect the quality and nature of our politics? Allow me to introduce to you Simon Peter Obilan. He's a former candidate for Kumi County, Kumi District, contested as an independent. Unfortunately, lost, but he didn't just lose the election. Looks like he lost it all. It's a very sad story, but the reason why we are bringing it to the limelight is mainly to amplify our argument for long ACFIM has been running with, that it is important and it's high time we did something about the unregulated spending during campaigns, because it does not only affect, doesn't not only affect the electorate, it also affects the candidates in disproportionate ways. He will be sharing with us from his experience what exactly happened, how is he recovering from the loss, what has he lost beyond just an election, and what does that mean going forward to anybody who is thinking about contesting. Remember that the 2021 elections were the most competitive elections. They attracted more participants. And because of that, people joined the race with a lot of expectations, with a lot of with different motivations, and depending on which side of the story you are looking at it, those that lost have a different experience from those that won. Especially those that lost that were not necessarily very financially resourced. What does that mean? How do they come out of the deep hole they find themselves in? When Simon Peter Obilan gets on set, we will be having this conversation and discussion, and probably it should be able to inspire one or two there who is willing to, who is thinking of contesting in 2026, because I know preparations begin as early as the elections end. What you need to know. I also must add that the nature and quality of our elections in Uganda, they seem to demonstrate the winner takes it all and the loser loses it all. There have been arguments for having a parliamentary system. Right now, Uganda is running a presidential system. But also, the argument has been that when you lose, when you have more members of parliament elected, it definitely qualifies you to have the president to be picked from the party with the majority of MPs. That's the parliamentary system. This discussion has also been widened a bit because there are those who are arguing that when it comes to also political party financing, is it possible that the political parties are financed in relation to even when you have candidates that have won elections, not only at parliamentary level, but even at LC level, they are considered to have a fair shake on the table? All these perspectives are coming as Uganda starts to take other steps in its democracy. The discussions around parliamentary system, the discussions around political party financing, expanding it beyond the majority rule of MPs, and also extends to another layer of leadership like LC5 level or LC3 level. But also there are discussions in the direction that is it possible that when you have candidates that have contested and have lost, like it is the case for Simon Peter Obilan, who lost, and I think when he shares with you, because I had a brief chat with him, he has argued that he lost because he never had enough money to contest against. I think in that race there were about 10 contestants, but there was one that I think the NRM who won the seat had a bigger, and he had deeper pockets. So his expenditure was a bit at another level, and somehow Simon found himself contesting against the giant financially. So those arguments that we've been always raising, that it's important we start to level the ground, put stop gaps here and there on how much one should spend during election campaigns, they are now starting to come back and giving us a deeper understanding from the perspectives of experience. Simon, it's good to have you on the set. I've been trying to lay foundation while you were away, and I think it's important, since I've lost a bit of time, to quickly bring you up to speed. I've already introduced you.
Yes, please.
To our viewers, and I think let's get the boat rolling. First things first, you are most welcome, Simon.
Thank you very much, Felix, for hosting me today.
How are you today?
I'm okay. I must say God has been so faithful, and He has been keeping us.
Great.
Yeah.
Simon, while you were trying to come on set, I tried to lay foundation upon which this discussion is going to be held. And for someone who's just joining us for the first time, we usually have this every Friday, discussing different elements concerning electoral democracy. And we've just resumed after over a month and a half. And Simon is our first guest after the break. And allow me to introduce Simon Peter Obilan, again, the former candidate, Kumi County, Kumi District, ran as an independent, and unfortunately lost. Picking it up from that introduction, I need to understand what inspired you to join politics and contest, Simon?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much, moderator, for giving me an opportunity, and above all, a platform to be able to air out my voice to all the listeners and people who are following us in different platforms. Yes, just like the way Felix has already said it, I am called Obilan Simon Peter, one of the people who had gone for 2021 race, which ended. I must say it ended well, because I am still alive and able to give a testimony after whatever has happened. So back to the question that you are asking me, that what inspired you to go for elective campaign, or rather politics. Yeah, from the look of things, I got inspired or interested in politics in 2016 when Kumi County was split, Kumi district was split into two. We have now Kumi municipality, and then we have the county. So when the county was carved out of the municipality, of course, that was in 2016. I couldn't go for the race because it was abrupt. It was a surprise to me. But there are candidates who went in, and that was the incumbent, Honorable Charles Ilukor, who came and represented us in Parliament. But there are a lot of gaps that I observed while Honorable Ilukor was in Parliament. I should not say that he did not represent us effectively, but I must say there were gaps. Like, for example, effective representation of the people of Kumi County wasn't there. I had never at one point seen our MP legislate in Parliament raise a concern, debate on anything pertaining the people of Kumi County. And then the second thing I would talk about was our MP disappeared from us. Immediately when we gave him the votes, he came to Kampala. When he came to Kampala, we remained with his PA. So whatever he was trying to communicate or do, we would only get it through his PA. And yet, the politics I know, or the MP, the role of an MP that I know, was to bring and to take. So those are some of the things that gave me an inspiration to come up and say, no, I think I need to represent my people so that the government can be able to hear and get their voices. That's why I came up, Felix.
Okay, that's quite interesting because there's a response I was expecting from your submission because I've interacted with a number of candidates and politicians, and some of them off camera, and some of them have been very honest with me. I think the 2021 elections, if I'm not mistaken, had over 2 million people contesting for different positions across. That means that there were, almost everybody was running to politics. There was a dash for politics. And there have been those debates that how politics now is quite lucrative, it's very attractive, it seems to be rewarding. It's a shortcut. Some have even said it's a shortcut to wealth. So people stake all their cards. It's like a casino. Stake all their cards to get to that domain of politics because they know, because of the nature of our politics, there are a lot of benefits. And I don't know whether behind the reasons you've given me, there was, because you were an entrepreneur before you joined politics, an established businessman before you joined politics. And I'm going to kind of like throw this back to you because how did you end up betting all your chips on politics when you seem to be doing well in private sector as an entrepreneur? Validly you put it that you felt you were not properly represented, or the people of Kumi were not represented by the incumbent. But could there be another reason that you saw politics as one of your other ways of expanding your entrepreneur empire, your business empire, given the fact that politics is no longer secret, politics pays in Uganda handsomely?
Yeah, I want to add that point to the points I've given because I was not able to exhaust all of them, maybe looking at the time. However, one of the things that I would add into the points I've given you pertaining my inspiration into politics was the big jackpot. I mean, the salary that MPs are earning And I looked at the economy or the area where I come from, the county I come from. Sincerely speaking, the world must know this, and the government of Uganda needs to put this into considerations, that the people of Kumi County are poor. There is poverty everywhere. And anybody that tries to rise up in the community, they look at him as God. They look at him as one person that can bail them out of poverty. So going back to the other point, it is true I was an established businessman, doing well, able to keep my family, take them to school, and do whatever I wanted within my reach. But the heart that I had was looking at a broader picture, not necessarily being able to keep my family and my children alone. What about my neighbors? What about the people around me? What about the nearby villages? I mean, the whole county at large. So my heart was that disturbed. So I was like, yes, fine, I am okay, but there are people who need me. How can I then expand my help to all of them? Then politics now came in, because politics, the position of an MP was a platform through which I would be able to be heard. You can imagine ACFAM today is able to know about Simon Peter. It's just because I came through politics, you get. So I looked at politics on the other hand, before looking at the lucrative salary that comes in. I saw it as an avenue through which I will be able to gain a platform that I can use to mobilize, to speak, and to represent the people of Kumi, that maybe in one way or the other, they will be out of poverty. Now, when I joined the politics, you have asked me that you were able to bet all your eggs in one basket. It is true, in the beginning, I did not imagine that politics would take me this far. It would affect me negatively. I did not imagine that, because the way I started looked so easy, looked so simple, looked so nice. And I went ahead to share with the people, to share with a number of stakeholders, and to share with experts that I knew about my dream. So they welcomed it, and they told me, no, what you only need to do is to avail yourself. Be around, be so close to the people, talk to them, tell them your dream, tell them your vision. They will welcome it, and they will be able to give you the vote. They did not tell me the bitter truth about politics ahead. They were giving me what I should say, they were sugarcoating politics in the beginning. So later on, when I entered into politics, when I joined it, in the middle of the way is when I realized I'd hit a snag. I could not go back. I could not continue, but there was nothing to do. I said, God, take over from here. I have already started this. There's nothing I can do. That is how everything happened.
Okay, before you you share your experience now, at the point where you now go full scale politics and the spending, and finally waking up from the slumber that there's much more that was to just availing yourself. I need someone paint for me pictures, because someone must understand and appreciate when we talk about someone losing an election bid in its sense. What was your life before you joined politics? Because this is where most people lose it. And human beings by nature, we love a finished product. We don't like the process, and sometimes we don't like the history. But for someone to appreciate what you've become after because of politics, let's paint for us a picture of what your life was like before as an entrepreneur and a businessman.
Yeah, moderator Felix, I want to say before I joined the politics, this is not the Simon whom I was. I am a born of a family. We are 12 in number, and I happen to be the second last born. We are 2 boys from with the 10 sisters. And I want to say, I am not proud, but I want to say that in the family of 12, I'm the luckiest person who has gone to school and graduated. I should say I have never gone through the stress of looking for a job, Felix. When I went to campus, I luckily was voted as a course leader. Straight away, I began earning some little money during that work. While there, I became a speaker at at campus. And then while in the Guild Council, obviously, you know, which you've been at school, we've been earning some money. And immediately I graduated in 2010. I was taken up by Uganda Red Cross Society, Lira branch. I began volunteering with them and I began earning money. So you can imagine, I'd never gone through the life of hustling to look for a job here and there. I had chances all my way. In 2012, I got a job with the Salini Construction Company, the company that built Bujagali Dam. And I worked as a quality control officer in Jinja. Imagine, I was among the few Ugandans who were staying in the expatriates camp in Jinja, sleeping in a free house, eating free food. And I was able to stay there with my girlfriend, who is my wife right now. So I was living a life that I must say I wanted. Along the way, when the contract of Salini ended, I straight away switched to business. That is 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015 is when my contract ended with Salini. And I had already accumulated some money because I was earning around 3.5 million shillings. I'd accumulated money and I switched to business. I began dealing in wine. I would buy wine from Chikubo, downtown, and then supply wine to different people in Kampala, in different places who sell in retail. You can imagine you can buy a bottle of wine at 20,000 shillings, for example, and you sell it 27, 28, 29, even 30,000. So you have a profit of 10,000, 5,000 on one bottle of wine. So life was okay. Yeah, life was okay, and I was able to run my errands left, right, center. That very business was able to give me an establishment. I built a small house in the village for myself. I also bought a small plot somewhere in the village and built a commercial building in the village, where I was able to do some of my businesses there, a retail shop. But now, as I went on expanding, the other heart of helping not only my family or the people near me, but other people also came in. So life was okay. My children were living well. I was able to pay for my children a school of 500,000, 600,000. I have 2 girls who are almost like twins, and then I have twins who are my last borns. So I was able to take care of them. They studied in Kampala, and then later on they went to Mbale, and I was able to take care of all their bills, including my rent and everything. But along the way, in my business experience, obviously I got another job because I went to school and there was a job advert. So I said, now, as I do this, I can also co-opt a job so that I can balance up everything. So indeed, I got a job and I was able to do my work alongside the business I was doing. Imagine I was able to have, I had 4 cars, if I may say. I had a double cabin, I had a taxi, I had a Honda HRV, and the life was okay, I must say.
So
I
by
reached the
Ugandan
level.
standards, you were rich.
I was not rich, because maybe being rich is defined in different ways. But I should say I was able to sustain myself the way I wanted.
Mm. That is what I should say.
That is what I should say. But when I joined politics, things now began changing. I also had my private life, and I was able to, you can imagine, I would sometimes have time to take my children to Acacia Mall to go and have fun. They would go and eat burgers, they would go and eat ice cream, they would go and take photos. I would go to Munyonyo and say, let's go. That was the first time I went there and bought ice cream at 70,000 shillings. Imagine. So all that was possible because I had some money that was flowing in. And I was like, I think the best way is to make my family happy and myself. I had a happy family, I must say. And my wife was okay. You can imagine my wife even forgot to think about getting a job because I was able to manage everything to do with our family affair. So life was okay before
Life was
politics.
good before politics. It was important for you to paint that picture for someone, because I want us now to get into a point whereby things turn upside down after you join politics. Let's quickly. I was going to say I think we shall have a break at 10 minutes from now. Let me stretch this a bit because I don't want to lose the flow. So life is good until the point you join politics. But before you explain to us exactly how things spin in a different direction, because that's now you are going to share with us your experience as a candidate campaigning, and I think that's where you start losing what you had built over time that you define as life was okay. Can you share with us your experience? Now you're a politician, you are contesting. How do you start to lose it all?
Yes, from private life to public life now.
Yes.
You know, when you join politics, you become a public figure. You become a father to the fatherless. You become a father to many, and your responsibilities get out of hand from a handful to something that you did not imagine. Now, I have given you a narrative that life was okay, and I was able to manage the affairs of my family. 2016, 2017 is when officially I declared myself a person who wanted to run for 2021 elections. They have always told the young people who come up that the early bird catches the early worms. So when you want to join politics, according to what I got, they told me that you need to begin canvassing for votes as early as possible. Do not wait for the last minute. You will not be able to make it. So I declared myself a person who was ready to run for 2021 elections in 2017. I now began interacting with people. I now began sharing my dream with the people in my county, in my constituency. And this now stretched my expenditure from the family of Obilan Simon Peter to the people of Kumi County. Felix, sincerely speaking, I told you in the beginning that people are poor, people are desperate, and people do not know the meaning or the role of an MP in their constituencies. So immediately you say, I am contesting. Actually, they even give you the title of honorable before you go through. So I don't know, maybe they use that as a way to get money from you, or they genuinely award you the name of honorable with an intention of giving you the vote. That title, I got it in 2017, before even elections. So things started right from 2017. Obviously, the politics in the village, in the rural, is like you need to participate in everything that takes place in the community for them to recognize you. Take, for example, if there is a barrier, you who has already declared yourself a person who wants to contest has to appear. Because while there, they will say, we have our son, or we have somebody who is intending to contest for 2021 and is a minister. Let him tell us something. And obviously, you are given a platform. But at the end of your address or greeting the mourners, there's what they call airtime. They say, Honorable has to give us airtime. Now, that is where spending begins. You cannot be a honorable and you're giving 2,000 shillings. And imagine you are supposed to declare this money in public. That as a person who is intending to contest for 2021, I have also come to grieve with you, but I have carried an envelope of 100,000, of 50,000 shillings. So they begin grading you depending on how much you are able to give in a burial. Remember, you're also going to grieve with them, to mourn with them. But instead, they have turned it as a ground through which they are able to mobilize some resources to help maybe in the burial or something of that kind. So that is where the things began turning around from. Secondly, when you declare yourself a person who wants to go for politics, any attempt that you make to visit your constituency, you have to be ready. You have to have money. You're not going to talk to people and drive away when you have not left something. They will not take you for serious. They will only take you for serious when you go, stop, speak to them and say, Kati, I have some 20,000 shillings for you here. They will say, okay, I think this man is serious because at least he has left something. So that something to you who is giving is affecting you. But to them, they imagine that is one way you are able to communicate to them that, yes, indeed, I am ready and I want you to give me the vote. So spending started straight away from 2017, and that is where my turnaround started from.
Wow, quite interesting. Let's go for a break of about a minute. And when we come back, we shall pick it up from there on and look at how the spending progresses to a point whereby Simon Peter is cash strapped and to a point whereby he's tattered, shattered, and tattooed for us to pick the lessons and make our arguments that unregistered campaign spending is not good for our democracy. Let's break off a bit and resume in a minute. Okay, looks like I was expecting some advert to run for ACFIM. If the producer can run it, but if it's not ready, we can proceed.
The monster of money politics is eating up Uganda's democracy. When you take money from a candidate, it means you are feeding the monster. Then you become a part of the problem. When a candidate who overspends on campaigns is elected, he or she will not represent voters but himself. He or she will engage in corruption to recover campaign money. Social services will not be delivered and the voter will suffer more. Voter, let's be wise. Give democracy a chance. Do not sell your vote. Focus on the issue.
Okay, welcome back to ACFIM Talks. I'm with Simon Peter Obilan, a former candidate, Kumi County, Kumi District, ran as an independent, unfortunately lost. And he is here with us to share with us his story, to inspire others, but also educate others and motivate others and amplify our argument that ACFIM has been running with for the last 5 years concerning regulating campaign spending for the good of our democracy. Simon Peter, before we broke off, you had begun taking us through the journey where you start spending and spending away all your fortune to a point where you are now, that again you'll share with us for people to understand. That's why I was picking it up from how life was before to a point where you start spending, and to a point we now want to try to graduate into a space where you share with us what is it that you've lost beyond just losing an election bid. Now, before you answer that, I need to understand, help a viewer out there. When you were financing your election campaigns, what were the sources of your campaigns financing? Where did you get the money? Was it all the money you picked from the business empire you had built, or there were other fundraising initiatives you did, donations from friends and family? Who else did contribute towards your campaigns?
Well, I want to say thank you very much for once again getting back on air. Yeah, on the issue of how I funded my campaign, you had already introduced me and you told the viewers that I was an independent candidate. It was not by choice, but that was a way through which I felt I would be able to reach Parliament. Because during primaries, I wanted to join NRM primaries, but we were very many. In my sub-county, there were like 3 people who wanted to come up, and then the other 4 sub-counties also had the 3, 4, 2, and I looked at it and I'm like, this is not going to be the right way through which people will be able to choose the right candidate. Because among all those ones who were coming up, all of them had money. They had money bags. So I said, no, the best is let me reach the people and let the people vote us genuinely. Because they told me about a lot of data games that people do in the party primaries. Others bribe the secretariat, others bribe the electoral commission of the party. They do a lot of things. So I feared to go through the party. And then I came as an independent. Back to the point of how I funded my campaigns. Sincerely speaking, I knew, Felix, when I joined politics, that there would be people or organizations that are really craving for democracy in Uganda, that would identify some of the young politicians with the aspirations or the heart to serve, but they do not have capacity to fund their campaigns. So when I joined in, I had people who were telling me that, no, there are people who will be there for you. There are people who will support you. There are people who will come and rescue you along the way. What is very important is for you to market yourself. And when people realize that you are a brand, they will be able to support you. So I went full swing with an imagination that along the way, I will have somebody, I will have an organization like Act Films. I will have somebody somewhere who will come in and say, I think this boy is capable. He has all the qualities. He's an orator. He has a heart to serve. But what he is lacking is money. So I had to put all my eggs in one basket with an imagination that along the way somebody would come and relieve me. So I funded my campaign personally with a few 1, 2, 3 friends whom I tried to consult. And even some of them who were supporting me were not giving me money as donation, but they were lending me money. I have a friend who lent me 10 million and is now demanding me 15, something of that kind. So they were lending me, but not really donating to me to further my career.
So just to get it right, you financed your campaigns entirely by your resources.
Yes.
How much did you spend in this campaign?
From 2017 up to 2021, 14th,
Yes.
according to my books, I spent 250 million shillings plus. But what we were able to capture is around 250 million shillings.
250 million shillings, and all went to the drain, and you lost it all.
And I lost it all.
Yes, that's quite very unfortunate. Now let's come to that part which had packed a bit. So you've contested, you've spent 250 million plus Uganda shillings, and you've lost. Other than losing the electoral contest, what else did you lose? Now, I want us to share with us, what has your life become after the loss?
Before I give the experience of how my life became after losing the election, I want to send this message out that you really need to be very ready to become a public property. Immediately you open your mouth to say, I want to contest. Because the mindset which is out there, people think immediately somebody says that I want to become an MP or I want to represent them or I am seeking for your mandate to go to parliament. They know you have the money, especially in the rural. In town here, in urban here, people might be able to understand what representation is all about. But the other way, the other side, people do not understand it completely. So you need to be ready to become a public figure. From these elections, I have extremely realized that you can never have any money in your pocket. Immediately you declare yourself a candidate for a certain position. Because you can come out of your house without a planned expenditure, but you will find yourself spending. You have met people drinking, and all of them have cheered and welcomed you in a certain way. So you find that they're like, oh, honorable, you have got us here seated. We are very happy to see you. You're welcome. 2021, it is only you. But you know, you have got us seated. And we have started in a humble way. We need you to support us somehow. So you have to put there some 2 gorogoros or 3, depending on how people perceive you, you get. Now, 2021 elections opened my family to the public. I want to tell you, Felix, I used to stay with over 100 people at my place. They come and eat, they drink every day. For as long as I am around, every day. I would buy posho 2 bags every week because the people come around. You serve them posho and beans, they eat, they feel you are sharing with them. You are the right person. But if they come to your home and they find Madam using a sigiri, cooking food of 3 people, already you've denied yourself a vote. You get. So life now was changing day by day. They used to cook food for 6 people, me, my wife, and the 4 children of ours. We now began cooking for food for more than 100 people. Because somebody can even say, I am hungry, but let me go and see whether Honorable is there. His intention actually is not coming to do anything, but he wants to eat food. So he comes and is like, you see, I have come to tell you that your opponent is doing something in such and such a place. So he will not live there until something comes out.
So were they doing that only to you, but also to other candidates?
I might not be able to speak about other candidates because we were playing games differently. There are others who said, for me, my candidates, every attempt I met, I get them, I fund them, he gives them money, maybe 5,000 or 10,000. But for me, I resorted to maybe at least have a meal because I looked at budget of having money to give them all the time was not sustainable.
So to get you right, that was your campaign strategy. One of your
That
campaign
was my
strategies.
campaign strategy to cut costs, in other words.
Okay.
Now, you had asked me that after declaring, how is life?
Yeah, actually, that question is the real question is that my understanding that you didn't only lose the election bid to be an MP, but you seem to have lost it all. What did you lose? Help someone understand it, because when you talk about the cost, counting the cost of losing an election bid, in what I call the winner takes it all and the loser loses it all, you didn't only lose to go to parliament, you lost everything. What is that everything you lost?
Yeah, to begin with, the elections itself, I wanted to say that, yes, it is true, I have lost the elections of 2021. But I had a mind and belief that when life is there, you will be able to get it. You will be able to go to parliament, because I have seen people who have lost it and have gone this time round. Even one of my hobbies has this time gone through. But what has affected me more is one, losing everything that has been sustaining me, sustaining my family, able to take my children to school, and totally coming back and grounded is now what has affected me the more. As I speak to you, Felix, I am homeless. I had a home that I had built personally, and it has gone away. I sold my house, which was supposed to be where my children are going to be, just because of politics. I have a transport business that hopefully I will show you online here, that I was running. It was called Corporate Transporters. It was running from Mbale to Kampala, and sometimes Lira to Mbale. It has also gone because I needed money and there was no money. So I had to sell off the company to raise some money, the business to raise money. I also sold the wine business to somebody at 11 million shillings, because now I needed money urgently during that time of campaign, and I was not seeing money, and I was not able to sit down to monitor how the business would flow. So I was like, maybe if this person would give me cash, I'd be able to use it. And then tomorrow, God willing, if I am able to go through, I'll be able to bring back all this. So I lost my house, I lost my transport business, I lost the wine business, I lost a retail shop business that was in Kumi town. And I must say, I've also lost the private life that I used to live, because I have never at one point gone on air telling people how I have failed to pay rent, how I've failed to pay the school fees of my children. But all this now is coming because of politics, you get. So my pain is not in even losing the seat. But now, how do I begin life? I did not really imagine that life would go to this level. But I have gone through the experience. Maybe you never know, God has left me for a purpose, but it is horrible. I can't even sit down and explain this to my in-laws. I am a married man. I have been respected by my in-laws. I have been welcomed as an in-law. But now where things have gone, I am eating on the mercy of people. I am now trying to think of what to do, like I didn't have what to do. I have the brain, but I can't begin anything. I am grounded. I'm like somebody who has been thrown in a pit. And the only way you will survive is somebody to come and pull you out. If they do not do that, then automatically you will be able to die. So that is how terrible politics has been to be. I have really lost beyond. And I think this should go to the government as well, that people sometimes do not only lose elections, but they lose their minds. I thank God that for me, I have not died. I thank God that for me, I have not run mad. But through the experience I've gone through, I have come to believe that yes, it is possible for you to run mad after the elections. The after effects of elections are always so dangerous, more than the time you spend during the campaign, because you will look for somebody to share with your pain and they are not there. You get? And yet we are preaching democracy, and yet we are preaching to the world that we need young politicians to come up. But now, how will they come up if they go through the experience I have gone through? Do you think that they will tomorrow again think about coming back for politics? So it has been that dangerous.
Wow, Simon, quite touching. I think I have a golden nugget out of this. People don't only lose elections, but they lose their minds. That's quite touching. As we wrap it up, because we have about less than 5 minutes to get out of here. I also understand that you are indicted at the moment. What is your date standing at to tune you off?
Yeah, after the elections, I remained with a number of people demanding me. I am demanded by Post Bank. I am demanded by Centenary Bank. I am demanded by money lenders. I am demanded by friends who borrowed me money. Actually, I have a tune of 62 million shillings being demanded. And all this every day, interest is accruing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know it will go to 100 million, because I don't have anywhere to get the money, but interest is building up every day. And that is how life is.
Wow. Okay. This is really, I think anybody who is joining politics in Uganda, you need to listen to this. You need to listen to this ACFIM Talks session, because it opens us to something bigger. This is the experience and the testimony of someone who has lost it, who had hope but has lost it. He had everything but has lost it because of elections. And we really thank you, because you are the first person to come out and publicly come to the forefront and willingly share this testimony, probably to help others out there. And I'm sure you're not alone. There are many others who are equally nursing woods, who are also equally lost it all, but probably they cannot be bold enough to come before the public and share this experience. As we come to the close of this broadcast, I have one last question that will also kind of like carry through your parting shots. So what lessons are you taking from this experience that is worth sharing with others to learn from? And in there, you probably, are there things you would have done differently, probably, so that you reverse the situation? If you were to run again, you never know. If your calling is to serve people, the idea might still be there. what will you be doing differently so that you don't repeat the same mistakes? And what can be done really to protect candidates who are from this after effects, these aftershocks of elections that are already very visible to you through experience?
Yeah, the lessons I have learned from this election, first and foremost, I want the people who are listening to us and following us on different platforms, maybe the aspiring candidates, the hopeful candidates, to listen to me, because I have gone through this personally, and I wish that you would not go through the same, because it is so painful. I have strength to speak here because I have been reading a scripture about King David when he fathered the child with Bathsheba, and then the child fell sick. But at the end of the day, when the child died, he began seeing signs from his servants, murmuring and talking about it. So when he got to know that the child had died, he got up. This is a man who has not been eating. He got up, went and showered, asked for food, and forgot about it. So all people were like, I think this man has run mad now. Because when the child was sick, he was not eating. He was fasting. But again, the child has died and he has gotten up, he has showered and asking for food. What could be happening? I have gotten up and showered, and I am now looking at what next. Now, from the lessons that I have learned from these elections, one, there is need for anybody planning to contest to first and foremost identify where is the source of your funding going to come from. Because no one should deceive you that you will go for politics and you will not spend. How will you reach the voters when you're not spending? How will you show the voters that you're with them if you're not spending? The culture in politics nowadays is this: the highest bidder takes it all. The more you support, the more you hire, the more you do what, that is when they see you as a potential candidate. But if you just come and you speak, they won't listen to you. That is point number one. Where is your funding going to come from? If it is not there, don't enter politics. Two, we have people who call themselves political brokers. They are in sub-counties, they are in parishes, they are in villages. Those are some of the people who have brought me down, because they call themselves the only people who can mobilize for you the votes in an area. And they discuss with you in terms of money. They say, how much can you pay me for you to get votes from here? Now, you are an amateur, you have not been there with them. You will take the words that they give you. And somebody tells you, if you really want to perform well in this parish, I need 1 million shillings. I need 500,000 shillings. Now, you go ahead and do that. At the end of the day, you have even performed worse in that specific area where you coughed money from. So those are some of the people and things you need to avoid. If somebody has to vote you, let them vote you on merit, on what you have spoken, but not what you have given. We have a mind that the bigger the entourage you have, the more support and attention you call. But that does not help. You can move with the 500 people going for a rally, but among the 500, 200 or 300 of them are moles They have been planted around you to see to it that they milk you to the dot. And anything you're telling them, because you're feeding them, you're giving them allowances when they are going back to home. So at the end of the day, all these people who are moving with you are spending, you're spending on them, and yet they are not for you. I was very surprised by one of the candidates, NRM candidate, who has been moving with a very big number of people. And she was not able to raise 1,000 votes. And yet she spent beyond expectations. Now, at the end of the day, she was able to realize that all the people who seemed to have been her people were malls planted around her. So there are malls that are always planted around you. You need to watch over them. And then lastly, on the point of what I have learned from this, is this, that do not put it as a guarantee that I am sure it is me. No, leadership comes from God. I got now these scriptures after losing elections, and my wife kept sharing them with me, consoling me and trying to counsel me. She said, leadership comes from God. You do not need to force anything. It is better you go to the people and talk to them. When you're living and they're abusing you, it is okay. Yeah? Because I used to feel bad. My agents used not to want to go to the ground when we don't have any money. They are like, no, we cannot go there like this. These people, when they go to the ground, they leave money. But now, if for us we go and we don't have money, that is not politics. We are not doing anything. So I was forced to do things out of my budget. You get, so I was stretched. By the way, at one point, I was so stressed with even my own agents, because every time we would plan to go out, they want me to have money. And not only 1,000 or 2,000, you need to have like 500,000 minimum in your pocket. You get. So I have learned that. Finally, on the other side, that what would you advise the young people?
As your parting shots. Yes.
Yes. I would advise anyone aspiring to be a leader that if you're a professional and you are in a job where you feel 1, 2, 3 things are running well, I think it is better you first hold there. Because if I had maintained my business, I imagine I would be far by now. But because I was misguided, I lost track, and here I am. If you're a professional, if you're a doctor, if you're an accountant, if you're a journalist, if all, name it, any profession that you are in and it is sustaining you for now, I would say it's better you keep it right there. Secondly, to me, I have seen politics, I think, needs you to go for it after you have retired. Because Honorable Okasai, according to my investigations, was a person who worked in government for long as a commissioner in agriculture. And when we came for this politics, sometimes I would wonder whether he is really serious, because he would not talk too much, but he would act too much. And when I tried to investigate why he was acting too much, but not talking too much, I got to realize that the money he was spending, part of it, was not from his own pocket. There are some people, young people, whom he had given opportunities during his time in as a commissioner. He had given some of them jobs. He had fixed some of them somewhere. He had supported some of them during school. So those were the people fundraising for him. The water boozer that he got for the county to fetch water in various places. While for me, I was hiring one at 3 million per month. For him, he was given free of charge by one of the sons whom he supported, and is an engineer somewhere right now. He just sent him a water boozer free of charge. You get? Maybe what he was only spending on was putting fuel, but the car came free of charge. So I realized that he was mobilizing money from the people he had supported, the friends he has, and the network he has. So I think if somebody is coming for this, you need to see out here that do you have a network that can support you during this time? Because sincerely speaking, you need people around you. If not, you will sell off everything you have. Finally, I want to say that politics is good, but you need to gauge it right from the beginning. If not, it will take your life and take your family as well.
Wow, that is it from Simon Peter Obilan, the former candidate, MP Kumi County. Thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your experience with us. I can guarantee you that there are many people out there who you've helped, who are going to benefit from this candid discussion, who will be forever indebted for your genuineness and willingness to come out and talk about your experience. We will be having more of these discussions as we move along. Our time is fast spent, but on that note, once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, our viewers, for keeping with us up to this end. See you again next time, same day, Friday. Yes.
Maybe before you close me out, I wanted to say one thing as we go out.
Just one.
Yeah, that I wanted the people who are watching me and listening to me to borrow a leaf from me. And then at the same time, I'm also sending this to government, that if we're looking at democracy, which is sustainable, and grooming young people, what is the government doing? What are stakeholders doing in regulating the use of money in politics? Because you can find Simon Obilan, whose heart is into serving, but he has no money. And he's going to campaign with a bull who has been working in government for the last 40 years. He has friends, he has money that he has saved. What will happen? There is need for government to look into that, Electoral Commission and all other organizations, to see to it that there is a fair play in all this. Then we will be able to benefit. And then finally, I am also calling upon people who can stand with me at this trying moment, because I did not imagine this would happen, but it has happened. I'm calling upon the world out there that as we speak right now, I had government talk about children going back to school this coming month, but I don't have any way of even sending my own children to school. I am actually looking at them stay home this time round because I don't have a start. I don't have anything. I don't have a job. So please, if you can stand with me, I'll be so grateful. And I pledge that I will be a living testimony for those in the nearby future who are planning, who are aspiring to become politicians. Thank you very much.
You're much welcome. There you have it. Any kind of help, moral help, financial help towards Simon is very much welcome. You can engage him directly. If you're interested, you can get on our platforms and we can connect you to Simon. But also he has made a clarion call that indeed it's high time government and all other stakeholders did something about sanitizing our electoral politics. The starting point would be having a law that curbs, that regulates campaign financing. And ACFIM has been at the forefront for the last 5 to 6 years. We shall continue to make that our point of our interest. We shall continue to make that our priority because we know one way of rectifying the problem is to ensure that we have a law that regulates campaign financing. There you have it. Thank you so much. I had already said my goodbyes. I'll hope to see you again, same time, same day, Friday, next week. God bless.
COVID-19 lockdown has left us poor. Money from candidates won't make you rich. Do not be desperate. Focus on issues, not money. Often money used in campaigns is dirty money. Do you know its source? Corruption, mafia, drug trafficking, human trafficking, theft from national budget, self-seeking foreigners, selfish businessmen, selfish money lenders. Don't abandon your duty. Elect quality leadership, not big spenders.
Io sbaglio ancora la